Welcome back to another episode of the Meet Kevin Show. I was a little bit behind today because we were maybe watching a little bit of Michael Keaton in Pacific Heights with the office staff. If you haven't ever watched that movie before and you ever want to get into being a landlord, it is a must-see. You'll learn all about professional tenants and getting screwed. If you don't want to get screwed, watch that. Or buy the courses at meetkevin.com. Yeah, ooh, coupon code. Price goes up Thursday. A true story, by the way. Okay, so, Mikey, we got a lot to cover today. Where are we starting today? What shall we talk about first?
Oh, I want to hear a little bit from you regarding these inflation expectations going down.
Oh, yeah.
Something about oil prices?
This was actually surprising. So inflation came in at expectations today, slightly hot on one of the headline reads. But what's wild is because it didn't come in substantially worse, which there are a lot of people who think there's no way inflation's not going to come back. The Fed's going to cut rates, and then the money printer is going to come back. There's the belief that either that's going to happen, it's going to drive inflation up, or inflation's just naturally going to drive up again. And so even a stable inflation report today sent this signal to markets of like, okay, all right, we're still on the path. Yeah, it's going to be bumpy on a month-over-month basis, but we're going to trend down. And at the same time, we have this idea of a slowing global economy. We have China not providing as much stimulus as markets have thought. That, along with Europe slowing down, has led oil prices to fall. Now, the Western blend of oil is actually under $70 a barrel. We're getting pretty low here. That's going to have big implications, by the way, for the election. If oil prices keep trending down like this, all Biden has to do is literally nothing. Because if gas is the cheapest it's been, in 4 or 5 years or whatever, come election time, and you get, obviously, coincident with that would be lower oil prices, then people might feel like things are better and that inflation is finally over. So as we've watched not only these relatively at expectation inflation reads today, and oil prices coming down, and a slowing global economy, we have inflation expectations plummeting today. They are at the lowest level they have been all year on the 10 and 5-year break-even. Oil prices are as low as they've been in the, we were at these oil prices before this summer and also in the summer of 2021. So all of the Russia, and Ukraine stuff, the Israel geopolitical tensions, all of that has been unpriced out of the oil markets. And there is a belief that lower gas prices and oil prices can actually lead a sentiment to go up and inflation expectations to go down. Both of those things are what we want, because we don't want down sentiment and inflation expectations down. What we really want are expectations up and inflation expectations up. So business conditions for expectations. Good. So, again, lowest level we've seen all year for inflation expectations, and this is good. We're going to hear about that somewhat from Jay Powell tomorrow. However, I don't think we're going to get a Jay Powell who's like, yep, we're ready to cut. I think tomorrow is going to be, what can he do to punt, to kick the can down the road for another few meetings? So that'll be interesting. We'll cover that obviously live at 11 a.m. tomorrow. But there's a long answer for you on inflation expectations. It's a good one.
Can you go into more detail?
I'm clicking the expand button, but there's nothing left. Yeah, it'll be good. Tomorrow, PPI tomorrow. I like saying PP.
I know you do.
You should see me at the airport. They're like, sir, what's your rental car under? 69 for PP. And then like they go to the key rack and then they almost always do the.
That guy looks like he's 30. What?
Wait, did he pick that number? It's obviously 69 basis points. Come on, man. Anyway.
All right. Well, today in the market, the only thing I really want to talk about is Oracle. Oracle, man. They got hit hard today.
I was surprised with how much they got pummeled. I thought Enphase got pummeled hard, which they did, but they actually ended the day up only down 3.6%. They were down as much as like 6.5%. But Oracle down 12. They ended even lower than they started down. What happened, Mikey?
They had their earnings yesterday, which ultimately wasn't too bad. It's just a lot of the future guidance threw things off. So let me go through some numbers here. Cloud services and license support is now 74% of revenue, which is $9.6 billion. So cloud services and license support, the good thing is that's recurring revenue. and it grew by $1 billion this quarter. But it's kind of misleading that they're coupling these two together, because although they are growing their cloud revenue, their actual license support is shrinking. Software license revenues, I have 1.2 billion, down 19% compared to last year when it was actually up 23%.
I think people hear cloud and shrinking and they panic. That must be what it is. Like, even if there's just part of your business that's shrinking, they panic. I think it's one of the reasons we actually saw Google plummet as much as it did last year. Because actually, even during the AI time, when did Google hit its bottom? Let me see here. That actually might make sense. If we compare this to Google stock. Yeah, Google hit its, right around February and March during the AI time. Google is at like $90. It's like $132 right now. And a lot, myself included, I still believe this, and I said this is going to take a lot longer term to happen, but a big fear with Google during that AI hit was, oh my gosh, people aren't going to have to use Google anymore, which means then they won't get the ads, which over time, I think will be highly true. And as soon as you see a cloud-based company with high margins and the growth goes away, ooh, people get nervous. And I think that's somewhat what you're seeing with Oracle is this fear that, oh no, the growth is gone. Anyway, keep going.
That is basically the consensus. So, well, gross margin's at 78%, which is good, but I'll get more to margin in a second. Okay, so we have they mentioned obviously like the vast majority of their revenue, 74% of it, that is recurring.
Yeah.
They said the smaller numbers, which are not recurring, now account for only 26%. And I quote, "This is exactly what we told you would happen, and it's happening." Okay, so far everything's fine. Our financial results reflect that customers have figured out that by moving to Oracle Cloud integration, they can really get more while paying less. And I think that's really almost like their moat, so to speak, right now, is companies are really
Being
trying
cheap.
to find ways to save money. So if you can reduce the expenditure of other companies, like, you're a winner right now in this market.
I wonder though, like, at what point are you the discount agent, so to speak? Like in the real estate world, when everything's booming and everybody can sell homes, the discount agents come out of the woodwork. It's like the 1% agents who are willing to work for a 1% commission, whereas the top producers, they're like, no, I'm not getting out of my car for less than 2% often, if not 2.5%. Used to be 3%. Now it's 2 to 2.5%. And so the discount agents in hard times, they're the first to go. They disappear. It's kind of like the amount of Redfin listings, for example, that you see today. Extremely nominal compared to what you saw during the boom times, because during the boom times it's like, oh, you just need to put a sign up and the homes sell. And I realize there's little inventory today, but it's a lot harder of a market, so the discount agents can't survive, so they can't even show up at the listing presentation to try to get the deal to sell it, because there's so few deals selling right now. So a harder market, whether it's because prices are falling or because volumes have collapsed, the first ones to go are the discount agents. So I wonder, could Oracle be hit in such an environment where, like, what if you're just like the subpar service? And I don't know, but I'm just getting anecdotes because people ping me from our course member live or in Discord, and they're like, oh, well, Oracle's a subpar service. No wonder their licensing and services revenue is going down. They suck. They're the discount version. And I'll put it this way. If I was going to build an AI app, do I really care to save, 10% on my data servers cost if it means I'm sacrificing one thing that could create some kind of tremendous opportunity for us, whether we're first to get more fundraising for an AI startup or cybersecurity, whatever it is. I don't know. What do you think? Is that a big concern possibly of whose cybersecurity could be better? Amazon's versus Google's versus...
Yeah, Amazon is they have a really good, really well done and like vertically integrated product. They are kind of expensive though, so what you end up getting is a lot of other cloud computing companies that are kind of teaming up to try to take down the beast. In the case of Oracle, they actually have their data centers are spun up in conjunction with Azure.
Microsoft
Azure. So as far as the call though, here's kind of where things start to go south. So operating margin was 43%, which is up from 41% last year. CapEx was $1.1 billion, but they said given the pipeline and backlog, they actually expect CapEx to be $8 billion this fiscal year.
Oh, wow. I missed that. I went through their earnings call. I totally missed that. $8 billion this year?
$8 billion.
That's like 2.5x what they used to spend. That's great for NVIDIA.
Oh, yeah. I was about to get to it. So they mentioned they're going to sign 2 additional contracts, each valued at about $1 billion. But the reason for CapEx going up so much is in the next few months, they're going to be turning on 20 new cloud data centers. Like I mentioned, these are the ones that are connected and co-launched with Azure. And these will use over 2,000 full racks of Exadata database machines. So who's the real winner here?
Chip makers.
Manufacturers.
Chip makers.
100%.
I mean, it's everybody. It's like if they're building. Here's the thing: if I'm building a new data center, am I going to run Ethernet or am I going to run NVIDIA's InfiniBand? It's going to be InfiniBand. So there's a sale for NVIDIA, and if you're going to run NVIDIA's InfiniBand, you're going to buy NVIDIA's chips. That's one of the big moats that NVIDIA has is they will build out your whole infrastructure under NVIDIA. And now they just came out with the CPU. Like you can dress yourself up head to toe in Hugo Boss clothing, like underwear, socks, the shirt, the sweater and the sweatpants if you want it. You can be head to toe Hugo Boss, watch, glasses, everything. Hugo Boss. It's the same thing with NVIDIA. You get head to toe. It's just all NVIDIA. You don't have to mix and match. It's actually kind of brilliant. And that's why I think Intel is also so brilliant, because NVIDIA doesn't manufacture. NVIDIA designs. Intel is like, we make our own x86 chips, but you know what? We realize those are dying. Don't tell anybody. We'll manufacture anything you got. It's kind of brilliant. And then they just take money from the U.S. government.
That's the real way to succeed.
Yeah.
They did repurchase a lot of shares. 4 million shares valued at $450 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so they did that.
So they knew this was going to tank the stock.
I think so.
I think also when you said the line, we told you this would happen, that's a little passive aggressive, and it's kind of like
Defensive almost.
Yeah. Defensive aggressive. I don't know. Anyway, I know. Yeah.
They are still paying dividends though. So they paid what is it? $4.1 billion in dividends over the last 12 months, which is like over $1 billion per quarter worth of dividends.
Wow. Yeah, it's always so interesting to me, dividends. I really hate the dividends. I think they're a stupid thing to pay unless you need the income. Like REITs obviously exist to provide a dividend. But for a lot of people with growth portfolios, I mean, I guess if you wanted to hedge, but I mean, like, who's buying Oracle to hedge? Like, it's one thing if you're buying real estate to hedge or whatever. It's another thing when you're trying to buy a data center company. Why would Oracle pay dividends? They should just be like, sell the stock if you want dividends and let the stock grow more, So
that's really the big concern people have now is the future growth. Forward projections, non-GAAP EPS growth expected to grow between 10 and 14%, which is more to like low to mid growth company levels of growth that we're seeing there. So as far as why they fell, I mean, basically the stock is overpriced. Estimated average EPS growth of 17% moving forward for the next few years. 24 forward PE, so PEG 1.4. It's not bad, but with a company that's kind of expected to plateau, they really need to figure out their long-term growth issue.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then one last thing, growth margins are good, but because they spend it all on OPEX, net margins are now around 20%.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, because they're throwing so much more into investments. You're right. So they're making that money on the top line, but they're able to make that money on top line because they have the servers. But now they have to keep making more servers to keep up with the growth. Interesting. Good point. Somebody here says Intel can't manufacture their own advanced AI chips. Well, that's not true regarding advanced AI chips. There are a lot of different levels of chips. But the latest and greatest, Intel will actually probably beat out TSMC in 2024 once they launch their latest AI plant or chip plant for the 2 to 3 nanometer size chips, spacing between the semis. And that's going to be that's really what I'm excited for about Intel. So you're right, they're not there yet, but that's what they're building for, and that's what they're getting a lot of subsidies for right now. So anyway, all right. So that's Oracle, good old AI juice. What else do we have today? What was going on with the ads on Twitter? I keep seeing this stuff about Elon Musk losing money on Twitter again, or the advertisements. I know they've gotten rid of a lot of their employees. So I'm sure their costs are down, but I think last I was looking, their ads were down like 40% or something like that. Do you have that? I found it here. Musk X ad sales projected to slump to about $2.5 billion in 2023. This was interesting. They generated a little more than $600 million in advertising revenue for each of the first 3 quarters. and should be roughly the same in the last one. This is apparently according to people familiar with the numbers. I could just see Elon Musk coming out later and replying, like, quote, tweeting this article and just going, thus, it's actually 2.6. You know, it's like some nominal correction, but he'll come out and go, thus, wrong. That's not true.
Go F yourself.
Mainstream media lies again. Ad sales currently make up between 70 to 75% of X's total revenue. This was interesting, too, because so many people are like, I'm going to get a blue check mark to help out. The advertisers make up essentially 3 out of every $4 that Twitter makes. So when the advertisers get pissed, it hurts. And so it doesn't, I mean, it still seems like they're on par with spending throughout the entire year if you flatten out that every quarter is about 600 mil. But Q4 is usually supposed to be the big ad push.
Yeah.
So I think in Q4 is usually when you make like potentially twice as much of the revenue that you would make in a normal other quarter. So there's definitely a hit. But hey, you know, I think Elon with $2.5 billion, they could probably survive. We should look. Twitter, let's see if we can get like an old investor relations piece.
Oh, you're going to find it's going to be over a year old at this point.
It would be. Yeah, exactly. Like you get like a cute, oh yeah, here we go. Twitter, Q2 2022. I just want to see their expenses with the employees they had. So their G&A was $1.5 billion per quarter back then. Okay, so Elon's expected to make about $2.5 billion at Twitter. Back then, G&A was 1.52. 1.52 for the year, or sorry, for the quarter times 4. That'd be about $6 billion. What do you lay off? 80%?
80%. I was just going to say, yeah.
80%. So that would bring you down to, well, theoretically, if it was just employee costs, that would bring you down to about 1.2. So you might actually be able to be profitable with his cuts. He actually might be able to eke out a profit, even with $2.5 billion, with all those cuts. That's very interesting. Just using the annualized total costs and expenses from the second quarter of 2022, taking off 80%. Now, some of those aren't going to be able to go down as much. Well, but then again, all of these are people. I mean, cost of revenue, maybe there's server data in there, but then you've got R&D, sales and marketing, G&A. I mean, what else would cost of revenue be? I guess I could go to an annual report and figure it out exactly. But
servers, G&A. I mean, yeah, what else is there for
probably servers and stuff like that. Yeah. If I go to a 2021 report for Twitter, yeah, here's their 10K. That would be cost of revenue. So cost of revenue includes infrastructure costs, revenue share expenses. Who do they share revenue with? I mean, I know now with creators, but back then I didn't know. Amortization for intangibles, facilities costs. Well, Elon stopped paying certain bills. Data center costs, leasing and hosting costs, support and maintenance, bandwidth, hosting, stock-based comp, and salaries for the networking staff. So let's assume the networking number has had to stay the same, that they haven't been able to cut 80% of that. So we'll go a little extreme here, and we'll say 6.8, and we're going to take 6.8 minus 0.5, puts that 6.3. I'll bring that down to 1.26. I'll add back in the $500 million. They could probably run the biz for $2 billion with those sorts of numbers. So he actually might be in the black, even with that like black mark kind of article going, his ad sales are down. He cuts so many expenses. He's kind of like Javier Milei over in Argentina. Just a chainsaw. I should make a meme where we put Elon's face on Javier with a chainsaw.
How many different branches of his government did he cut? Or different?
Well, he basically fired like 50% of the people, the employees. He pulled a Vivek. 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 And we're going to, basically lay off everybody with an odd number social security number, and even numbers will stay. Javier actually did it.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
This is actually really out of the Elon Musk playbook, because he did this with Tesla early on after he had co-founded the company. Before he was CEO, he didn't want to be CEO. They kind of forced his hand in it, and then the first thing he did is, I think it was around the same number, laid off like 80% of the staff, cut a bunch of expenses, and basically saved the company.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's one thing, if when times are good and everything's growing or whatever, people spend, but you probably need to do something like that to survive. So good for Elon there. Yeah, might be profitable. Very cool. What
Speaking
else?
of Elon, I got one Tesla thing today. Just
Ooh.
one Tesla thing today.
Oh, only one.
Yeah, some people want more, some people want less. So I'll just give them one today. So this has been making its rounds. What I've got open on X here, and it's a Cybertruck stuck in the snow. I'll let you watch it first. It just wanted a Christmas tree, man.
It looks like a matchbox.
Oof. It's a Ford pulling it out.
So what's the scoop here with this?
So there's a lot. I mean, the first thing you're going to notice with the truck is it says RC on the side, right? So release candidate. This was one of the earlier production ones that were candidate for, someone to buy, but officially it seems that it still belongs to Tesla. So a few things to note with this. Well, the first thing you can see from this still, it doesn't have snow tires on. Those are its all-terrain tires, which are not good for the snow. They are obviously not aired down at all, which is something you should do when you're off-roading.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
These release candidate ones, they also didn't have like the recovery or the pickup points to get pulled out. So it's actually getting pulled out by the suspension on that, which isn't a good look. But the last one, and probably the most important thing, is it didn't have the diff lock enabled. So the differential that goes in the back axle there, that's something that you can basically turn on and off, and it lets the wheels either spin independently or together. So with the ability to lock your differential, you can, as long as you've got traction on one wheel, you can basically, or one tire, you can pull yourself out. And in this case, it didn't have it. So in other words, this looks like a Cybertruck with none of the off-road capabilities.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't even know why they would have gone off-road in the first place. I wouldn't be surprised if they basically like lost traction on the road and slipped down the hill, because I see no reason for you to be going down the hill in the snow with a machine like that. I know. Improper tires, improper machine, user error.
So this is probably mostly user error here, because this vehicle is not supposed to be in this environment.
No, if you took like a commercial Cybertruck, like one that you could buy today and maybe get it delivered later this month, it should be able to handle snow, no problem.
Yeah. This will certainly be perfect for the Tesla Q, the Tesla Bears and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, remember what I said before the Cybertruck event? I said, just be ready. Once it actually gets released, it's just going to be a barrage of, look at what the stupid Tesla's doing now. I mean, they do that every single time. Oh, here's one on fire. Oh, here's one getting towed. Here's one getting pulled over. All the normal stuff cars have to go through. It's like, whatever. Most of the time, it's totally explainable and an eye roller. But
look what I have here, though. This is your Ford F-150 Lightning stuck in the snow, not on a hill, on even terrain. And I've not been seeing anybody repost this. I had to dig to find this.
Oh.
So it's just one of those, like, if there's Tesla FUD, it will get spread. You will hear about it. If it happens to anyone else, like,
I just keep
it
doing
happens.
that and turn it.
I don't know why this is enjoyable to watch.
It is kind of satisfying. I miss the snow.
So yeah. Like, it looks beautiful. I kind of like the white car on the white. It's sad what they're going through, but for some reason it's oddly entertaining to watch. But anyway, okay. So, well, that's classic Tesla for you. And you're gonna get that hate. I don't know what it is with people's obsession of hating Tesla so much. I think that's like they're doing such great things as a company there, but it's like there are literally people who wake up. It's like, what can I do to say bad things about Tesla today? What can I amplify that's negative? It's almost like politics. Probably all paid by Ford.
There are publications who, as much as like they'll post some valuable stuff, anytime they touch anything Tesla related, it's always anti-Elon. It's always FUD. There's entire subreddits dedicated to this website's forums. People just love to hate on it. I think they missed their opportunity to buy the stock, and now they're bitter.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, a bitterness. Yeah. Well, they've had 3 years of a flat stock, though. Oh.
Yeah. Well, sorry. They feel like they missed their opportunity to buy the stock. Because we bought 2016, 2017.
Starting out, yeah. Lots of that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So anyway,
all right,
let's get a little bit of politics and some foreign news.
Ooh, everybody loves politics,
right?
What's the?
This is we all bond over politics. Nobody disagrees when we cover politics.
Yes, exactly. So nobody disagrees about Andrew Tate either.
Oh yeah, nope.
But we don't have Andrew Tate to talk about today, do we?
No, he was. I checked his.
He was boring.
I checked his X to see if there was anything spicy. He is talking about the Matrix per usual.
Yeah,
old man yells at cloud kind of thing. Okay, so I got some Russia news, I got some Ukraine news, and we can even touch a little bit on Israel. So as far as Russia, they have sustained heavy losses from this war in Ukraine, and this will tie into the Ukraine thing in a second. But there was a U.S. intelligence assessment that was presented before Congress, I think today, and it said that Russia has lost 87% of its active duty troops during the Ukraine war, almost 90% of its ground troops.
So they must just be like all reservists now, or new recruits.
Yeah. So they lost 315 out of their 360,000, and to combat it, they've laxed their recruitment standards.
Right, age and physical capability and everything. Oh, that's sad.
2/3 of its pre-invasion tanks gone, so they lost 2,200 out of 3,500 tanks. And to combat this, they started dipping into their old Soviet-era stuff.
For even older stuff. Oh.
Yeah. Which, that stuff never had a good reputation. Sometimes it works. But regardless, Putin is committed to pushing forward here. And U.S. officials are warning that Ukraine's in a very vulnerable situation, and they believe that Kyiv is unlikely to make any real gains over the next couple of months against Russia.
Well, they need money.
They need money, which is why Zelensky was in Washington today.
Oh, was he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because you're in gridlock right now with Republicans at this point suggesting, look, we'll provide some money to Israel, $14 billion, I believe it is, but no money for Taiwan or Ukraine. I think Putin's actually almost playing the cycle where he's just like, I know the U.S. is going to, at some point, not be able to keep funding Ukraine. And then as soon as they stop funding Ukraine, that'll be our chance. I bet you he thinks those things.
I agree with you. This was Zelensky's third visit since the war began, which we're coming up on 2 years very soon.
That's insane.
February of 22.
Was it? Yeah.
February 2022.
Holy crap. Wow. That's insane. Well, hopefully this is over before that next Olympic cycle. Right?
Because I was looking at February. I was like, I think it's been a little more than February. Oh, February of 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been moving for a while.
Wow.
So he basically reiterated that Ukraine needs U.S.'s assistance. And a lot of people in Congress, especially Republicans, but a lot of people had reservations about like the corruption in Ukraine and where the money's going. So
of course.
He tried to reassure them. It seemed, based on a lot of the interviews I was reading with different senators, like it seemed to reassure a lot of people that the money's not going to corruption. So at the end, like most
just
people,
because he came and said that it would.
Came and said, and he had his cute face on, and he flirted with them a little bit. So most agreed that we do need to fund Ukraine, Mitch McConnell included.
Mitch McConnell, he's losing a lot of his Republican support though because of that. It's actually really interesting. A lot of people used to like Mitch on the Republican side, not maybe so much during the stimulus era because it felt like everything was like delay. But that's interesting. Tell me more about Mitch. Glitch Mitch? Is he still glitching out?
Glitch McConnell. When you said it the first time, dude, that cracked me up. So even though he is in support and he does think it's important, he reiterated the point that he doesn't think it's possible we're going to get it done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because he's saying like even if we end up getting something crafted, like to get it then through Senate and to get it to the House and getting it through before Christmas, it's just he doesn't think it's very likely. And so he was actually calling on Biden to help out with the stalemate and speed things up a little bit.
Yeah, I bet there are some loopholes that Biden can pull to continue to send either military tools or weapons or ammo or whatever. But at some point, that's got to dry up. Because you could sort of suggest, oh yeah, it's DOD money that's already been funded, and we're just going to send that over to Ukraine because we don't need it. But then it also feels weird because it's like if we give all our stuff away and then we're not replenishing it, what do we have left? Maybe that's Russia's goal. Oh.
Mike Johnson was also in agreement for the most part, with a caveat, little asterisk. He wants more border money.
Interesting. Okay, so the Democrats want Ukrainian money and Taiwanese money. He wants border money.
He wants border money.
So I think what I heard is politicians on both sides of the aisle agree. They both want money.
There were a couple of exceptions from the Republican side who didn't want to send aid to Ukraine, but the majority of them seemed to be in favor, just with certain concessions.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. All right. So more government money printing. Classic.
More printing. Biden's immediately releasing $200 million to Ukraine, but it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the tens of billions that they're hoping for. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're over somewhere around $120 billion now to Ukraine.
My understanding is they want an additional 60.
Yeah. I just wonder, just out of like curiosity's sake, what would happen if somebody was able to say, okay, yep, we've promised this 120 mil for Ukraine. We've set it up. Time to write the check. And then somebody comes in, snatches the check for say there's a check, $120 billion. Goes, now I'm going to build schools with it in America. And then you go around and you start building like brand new schools. I mean, like how much does it cost to build a school, right? Let's see. Cost to build a school, probably like what, $500 million? Oh, it's way less. Okay. A high school could be 100 to 250 mil. So let's take the high number, 250 mil.
Okay.
Well, now we go 250. Every 250 is 4 into a billion. So 120 billion times 4.
You don't have to factor in teacher pay because we don't really pay them that much.
God,
Rounding error is 0.
That would be 480 new schools in America, which would be 10 new schools per state.
It's a good point because there was a recent study that came out that showed that we're getting stupider. I don't know if you saw, but we're slipping in every single category of education.
In education or just like straight up intellect?
Well, I mean, there's a correlation, I'm sure.
What?
No. In school, they told me correlation doesn't equal causation. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to school. We should build more.
Yeah, but that, like, when we put it in that perspective, it's. And I know we're not supposed to do that because it's like, oh, well, you know, that's allocated for the defense of America and we're weakening our enemies. I get it. But still, like, you look at that and you go, wow, you'd have 10 brand new high schools in every single state in the country. Which, I mean, some states are small. They probably don't even need 10 schools. So 500 new schools throughout the country. So put them in the most populated areas and then teach skills. Like, imagine this, financial education and some trades. So when you graduate high school, you know, plumbing and electrical. Quite frankly, even if you don't want to be a plumber or an electrician, those are good skills to have.
I agree with the teaching people the trades, teaching young kids the trades, especially because we're expecting in the labor market to see a shortage of a lot of these trades, like welders and all that in the next couple of years.
100%.
So absolutely. My concern is I don't think building new schools is actually going to solve that issue because at the end of the day, you have all the good teachers are leaving because they're not getting paid anything.
Yeah, you got to pay teachers more.
So you got to pay teachers more.
Yep.
There's like a fundamental issue with just how we teach, how the schools are structured, the classroom size, all that.
Yep.
I don't know if it's just a matter of build more schools and everything gets fixed.
So then, you know, build 400 schools and pay everyone more, right? Or whatever. There's a lot of fixing to do. But point is, when we compare it, just on what the money could do, it's pretty wild. It's kind of like when, what was it? I think it was, I sent a Gavin Newsom stimulus relief, no, it was inflation relief. That's what it was. Inflation relief stimulus checks. And they sent stimulus checks to people making up to $500,000 in California. And they could have spent that on
literally
health,
anything else.
schools, everything. And instead, now it's, we have a $68 billion deficit. And then, of course, people commented like, but Kevin, California has a rule where if you collect more, you have to give it back. Or you increase your emergency fund because you realize the next year you're going to go into a deficit because your venture capitalists aren't making as much money in the stock market anymore. That would have been the smart thing to do. But Gavin Newsom wasn't looking to do the smart thing. He was looking to do the vote thing. How to buy votes. Send the stimmies.
That's true.
Anyway.
Unfortunately, that's true. So to end on this one, Biden told Congress that a failure to pass Ukraine and Israel aid, the aid package, would give Putin the greatest Christmas gift.
I guess he's going to have a happy Christmas because there's no way a package is getting done, I think, until... Honestly, I don't even know if one will get done. I mean, the goal is for I think, Democrats that it'll happen during the budget negotiations in January and February, since they now two-parted them. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't actually get a really big aid package for Ukraine until after the election. That people are going to literally can't. Yeah, and then Putin's going to, I bet you Putin's betting on that. Because now you're going to have the individuals who gain votes by saying we're going to stop this funding to Ukraine. They're going to get more clout and more attention. Things are going to get more dire in Ukraine. They'll become the face of that. But then there'll be more, as many people will hate those people. There'll be just as many who are like, I love that person for finally, requiring fiscal accountability or whatever. and like Matt Getz or whatever, and people cheer that. So it's actually a great way to try to get votes if you're in Congress. Is that sort of hardlining? Again, I'm not taking sides on it. That's for everybody individually to decide. But it is very interesting, and that will leave Ukraine in a lurch. And Putin's probably suspecting that.
Yeah, a lot of people are bringing up that we should be spending more money, more resources on fixing America. We have an education issue. We have a huge homelessness issue. We have mental health crisis, all these things. Yep. And I agree with that. The other side of that coin, though, is to note that, if it was America versus the rest of the world, America loses. We need allies. Allies are important. So I think in the case of something, we have a long and complicated history with Russia, as does Ukraine. Yep. And I think when it comes to something like that, it's sticky. It's a really tricky situation. And personally, if Russia's lost 90% of their infantry and 2/3 of their tanks and all that, I think you're right. They're relying on the fact that we're going to stop sending aid and Ukraine's going to fall apart. So I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel. If we push just a little bit more, I think we might actually have some success, or Ukraine rather would have some success.
Yeah, that is interesting. That is a good point. Like now is almost potentially from the POV of like finish Russia. They're sort of like now at their weak point. It's like send the money now so you can finish Russia and then be done spending.
Exactly.
But that's what they've said since day one, though, is just fund Ukraine day one. And they'll finish Russia. And then, of course, the counter argument to that is, but they have been making successes. They prevented what was expected to be the blitzkrieg of Ukraine. That didn't end up happening. Russia didn't take Kiev. They didn't get deep into the country. And then they focused on Kherson and Donetsk and Dnipro, your oil regions, and then they even pulled back out of Kherson, and now they really just focused on sort of the border territory of eastern Ukraine
and Crimea. So, but yeah, they took Crimea.
Well, they've had that. Yeah, exactly. So is that can you cite those as victories? And sure, yeah, there's an argument to be made on both sides. This is too reasonable of a discussion.
No, let's move on. Let's try to find something to disagree on.
Israel, okay.
So this is a little bit less about the war over there, more about Biden and Netanyahu kind of having a public disagreement.
Okay,
They both had speeches today addressing their own population, but it's kind of like, when you subtweet at someone, like you tweet something and you hope that person will see it because it's intended for that one specific person. They did that. Right?
Okay, interesting.
So Biden had warned in Washington that, a lot of countries around the world are starting to turn on Israel. And, United States has been one of the strongest supporters of Israel from the beginning. They're vetoing the ceasefire in the United Nations and all these other things. So, they've supported the counter-assault on Gaza, selling all these tank shells to the Israelis. But anyway, so Biden had spoken, said that, they need to change their strategy, so to speak, because they're losing a lot of support. Before Biden had spoken, Netanyahu actually had a speech in Israel. And he said, and I quote, "There is a disagreement about the day after Hamas, and I hope that we reach an agreement here as well." So for context, the Biden administration is hoping that the Palestinian Authority comes in after Israel is done, wiping Hamas off the map, basically, and instates them back into power as they were before Hamas ever got elected in early mid-2000s. But Netanyahu says, "After the great sacrifice of our civilians and our soldiers, I will not allow the entry into Gaza of those who educate for terrorism, support terrorism, and finance terrorism. Gaza will be neither Hamastan, I guess how to pronounce it. It's going to be neither Hamas or Palestinian Authority." So there's a big
they want a
disagreement
new
there.
Authority, basically.
Either a new authority or
Israel.
Or Israel. I don't know which one. He left that one open.
That's never going to work, though. That's never going to work. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. Well, so I wonder how that helps Israeli funding getting through. Because, again, we approved Israeli funding, but it never ended up going through because that was contingent upon not doing the Ukraine
things they did.
And
Sure.
The aid package, right? So Republicans approved the Israel-only funding. So even Israel isn't getting money from Biden right now. Congress has got the purse. Nope. Which is actually kind of the point of Congress.
That's true.
To prevent that sort of reckless potential spending from a single person in power. And so instead, we just created Jerome Powell, who can basically bypass the Constitution and everything and print as much money as he wants.
Right, but he's a government entity. No, he's not.
Yeah, technically, he's authorized to exist per the government, but not the government?
Yeah, as long as like they don't F anything up, like the government will continue to let them be.
Isn't it federalreserve.gov though? Federalreserve.gov.
You should get meetkevin.gov.
No, it's
then.
not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ah, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Federal Reserve. I do now. I wonder. I don't even know now. That is so weird. No, it is. I just mistyped it. Yeah, it's federalreserve.gov. But
How to get a .gov TLD. Only U.S.-based government and public sector organizations are able to obtain a gov domain.
Okay, so they would be considered some public sector. That's interesting. Oh, they're not part of the government. Okay, well, here's your .gov URL.
Interesting.
All right. Interesting.
All right. Last one I have. So let's see. We covered Russia, covered Ukraine, covered Israel, a little bit of China.
Okay.
They've been hacking us, bro.
Oh, no way. They would never do that.
Yeah. Unheard of. So Chinese military ramping up ability to disrupt a lot of the key American infrastructure. So this includes power and water utilities, communications, transportation systems. And so hackers affiliated with China's People Liberation Army have burrowed into the computer systems of 24 critical entities over the past year. And so among them, I have some on the list here. A water utility in Hawaii, major West Coast port, at least one oil and gas pipeline, and they attempted to break into Texas's power grid, which is an independent power grid from everyone else. And so what I noticed in the list, and there's a couple others, there's a lot of attention to Hawaii.
Interesting. After the Hawaii Electric?
The water utility over there. Yeah, the fire. But it's where it's the same reason for Pearl Harbor. That's where we keep our a huge butt of our Pacific Fleet, right? So it said at least one port as well as a logistics center suggests the Chinese military wants the ability to complicate U.S. efforts to ship troops and equipment to the region if a conflict breaks out over Taiwan.
Interesting.
World War III confirmed?
Wow. I keep seeing messages of that. People, for example, they'll leave messages and be like, "Oh, I know somebody in the military. They're expecting war in 2025. Taiwan invaded by China. China getting more aggressive." I don't know, man. We've been hearing about China getting more aggressive for decades. At what point is it just the boy who cried wolf? But then at what point does that wolf actually bite? I don't know.
Yeah, if I look at things through China's perspective, I think they have much more to lose invading Taiwan than
to gain. Well, especially with the state of their economy. But then other people make the belief that if China wants to take the POV of, the economy is so bad because of Taiwan, and they use that almost as a scapegoat, and now we're going to go to war to make you feel better and make you have a better chance at life or whatever, could they potentially empower the masses to support that? I don't know.
I think the only way you get Winnie the Pooh to attack Taiwan is if his staying in power gets threatened. Like if he needs that support from the people. Otherwise, I think for their economy, this is the best situation is what they have right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
That's my take on it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, it just the status quo and basically get the benefits of threatening an invasion without actually invading. So it's actually kind of great. Is everybody thinks you're going to invade, every time you want to kind of renew that, you just release another spy balloon or, a weather balloon.
It was a weather balloon.
Yeah, let's get that right. And then sort of wake everybody up again. No, it's still here. China's still here. That's funny. Wow.
Okay.
It's one more thing. It's a psyop. It's a psychological warfare. Yeah. All right.
One more thing for the day, and then we'll end it.
Okay.
Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Donnie J. Trump.
Yeah.
Remember, he used to have those electronic, the digital trading cards?
The NFTs.
They're NFTs.
Yeah.
Well, he says, this is on Truth Social, due to the great excitement and success of my previous Trump digital trading cards, we're doing it again. The MugShot edition, available right now. Plus, buy 47 cards and get a piece of the suit that I wore for the MugShot photo. And also get an invite to a gala dinner with me at the Mar-a-Lago. Don't wait, they'll go fast, I believe. I'm happy if you're happy. Have fun. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
What is it? Collect Trump? What? Collect?
I'm on it. Yep.
Trump cards? Or
collect Trump cards.
How do we know that the suit is actually the suit that he wore for that mugshot? Because, what if it's that's the Hugo Boss Black Illidan suit, let's just say, right? And so then he just buys 50 Black Illidan suits or however many he needs. And it's yes, that is indeed the make and model of the suit that I wore.
It was apparently authenticated by a third party. I think it's listed on this website.
Is it? Okay.
So yeah, let's look at it. So first of all, these trading cards, bro, they're only $99.
Oh
So
my God.
get us starter decks for everyone in the office for Christmas.
And if you get 47, you get a dinner.
47, and you buy 47, get a piece of the suit, and you get the dinner. That's right.
Now,
That's right.
That like, I wonder how many people are at that dinner, because $4,700 to go have a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. That doesn't seem horrible unless it's like 1,000 people. Then it's like, oh, this is a pain in the ass.
Let's look at
then it's just like a rally you could have gone to for free.
Yeah.
You know.
Hope it's a good dinner.
Yeah.
All right, look at some of these amazing trading cards.
It is so brilliant. Like I'm just scrolling through this, like the marketing of like go down to the Mar-a-Lago. He's turned that into such a where is it? Is it residence and exclusive? So just type residence in and see if it comes up. Next, no. Oh, my president. President. Did you get a different cache site than I did?
Resident
I have
TS or CE?
There. Yeah. See, and then they show pictures of they have turned that property into such a moneymaker, because he doesn't have to travel at all. Everybody, come to me, because it has such a reputation now.
It's worth billions of dollars.
Well, yes, according to Trump himself. That's like Andrew Tate.
That's
I
true.
am a billionaire.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. We questioned it, but then he tweeted about it. So
In Argentinian pesos.
here it is. A piece of Trump's actual mugshot suit will be on your physical card, shipped directly to you. Where did they say this was authenticated? Oh, authenticated by MEARS, or MEARS, one of the largest authenticators in sports memorabilia. They call the mugshot suit the most historically significant artifact in United States history. This tops the Declaration of Independence, dude.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Yeah, this is the most significant piece. So I've never heard of them. I'm not really a sports person, so maybe they are a large authenticator. I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments knows better than me. But hey, apparently you get a piece of the suit. I wonder how big of a piece.
Yeah, well, the picture they're showing implies they're going to be not that many cuts, because look at how big they make the pit. On one of the images, they show like the slice cut out, and they imply it's going to be like that. Look, they imply it's going to be like 6 inches by 3. There's no way.
Smaller. No.
You're going to get like a dime-sized cut, right? And then think about what you actually can do. You could cut the suit, basically out of the seams, so you double the size of the suit, because you have the inside and the outside, theoretically. Nobody said it was going to be the outside of the suit.
That's true.
It could be the inside
Could
liner.
be the sweaty part, yeah.
Schwitzig spot. That is interesting.
Let's see what else. Buy 100. Oh, there's even more if you buy 100 trading cards. You get all this. You get a 1-of-1 digital trading card, or NFT, 2 VIP tickets for you and your friend to join President Trump for the dinner, exclusive invite for 2 for a pre-gala cocktail reception, 2 limited edition physical trading cards. We have transcended NFT and gone back to the physical realm. Piece of the suit.
Transcended NFTs. This website, MEARS, try this one. Go to this website. It's MEARS online.com. I hate to say it, but it looks kind of like, see, it just feels somewhat basic. This, like even with that little sticker at the bottom, what's that little green thing at the bottom? What does that say? Stute Web Group. Like they didn't even get rid of the website designed by.
Yeah. About, who are you guys?
Yeah, and they have a memorabilia equipment submission form, and they have a pricing structure. Used bats. It'll cost you $750 to get that authenticated. Game-worn jerseys, $7,000 to authenticate. Wow.
They're formed in 2004, so less than 20 years old, authenticated over $200 million worth of authentic sports memorabilia. Well, yeah, if it's costing that much money, I'm not surprised, $200 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not legit, but I'd never heard of them before.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I want to show you the mugshot one. That's the most important card is this new limited one that just came out. Where is it?
The mugshot photo. Trump. Yeah.
It's this one. This is the mugshot card right here. That's right.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Iconic.
Like how his head, like he's so powerful. He's like, his head is like exploding out of the card. This is the marketing idea there.
I play Donald Trump in defense mode. Did you ever play trading card games?
Just Pokemon. briefly.
Did you ever play the game or did you just collect the cards?
I lost miserably at the game many times, and that way I could say that I played it, but I would just collect them basically. I'd have my binders and they'd be like, "Oh, play me in a match." I'm like, "What do I do?" And they're like, "Just do this," and they would just always tell me the wrong thing to do, and then I would. This was 3rd grade though, so I think that's what kids do.
That was about the same for me. Nobody really knew how to play the game properly.
It seemed that way.
So I feel like no one to play with. I played Yu-Gi-Oh and a couple others.
Yu-Gi-Oh was like that next phase, like it's the next Pokemon. It was never anywhere near as popular. I think. I don't know. Maybe it got more popular later.
It did. I don't know that it's more popular than Pokemon, but as far as people who actually play it, Yu-Gi-Oh's got to be like a top 3 card game.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. So it really exploded.
Yeah. Magic is probably number 1 still.
Ah, interesting. Huh. Didn't know.
I traded a Charizard in elementary school. Dude, it's so stupid.
Darn.
Mikey, you play Magic the Gathering. You look like that kind of kid. I do look like that kind of kid, but no, I never played Magic. I never did. A lot of my friends did, but I never got into it. Too expensive. Can't afford it.
Wow.
Not at the time. Not at the time. All right. That's all I had for you.
All right. That's all we got. Perfect. Great. Onwards. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and jump into the good old paper. Remember to go to meetkevin.com, check out those courses on building your wealth. And even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice. For you, it is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. The video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by us. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purpose of evaluating investment or security. Any links or promoted products are or could be paid affiliations. I personally have to sneeze.
Bless you.
And operate an actively managed ETF and hold long positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuers, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.